All right, today I'm going to be taking a look at some very popular, very common compliment pulling fragrances, right? These are highly regarded in the community for smelling really good to a lot of people and garnering you some positive attention. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rank each one of these 1 to 10, or rather I should say I'm going to rate each one of these 1 to 10. Not on compliment factor, but on just how good I think they actually are from a scent standpoint. So just to make things very clear here, if you are in the game for compliments and that's your main focus, you really can't go wrong with any of these. They're all going to work really well for that. So if you're not super picky about how much you enjoy the scent in particular and you just want something that's just going to smell good to everybody else, take your pick from this selection based off of your budget or whatever, and you're going to be good to go. But if you want to make sure that you're enjoying what you're wearing and maybe you want something that is going to be a little bit more interesting and has a little bit more complexity and depth behind them, then that's kind of where this rating is going to come in for each one. Some of these I love, other of these I can kind of do without, but that doesn't mean that they don't work good for the masses, because they do. So you'll get my opinions on these from, more of a collector standpoint on how interesting I think they are, but I also try not to, be biased too much and start to hate on things either, because all of these do their intended purpose really well, which is just smell good to people. So you got to kind of keep that into consideration as well. Links to these down below. If you want to check any of these out or pick any of these up at discounters, feel free to do so. Let's get things kicked off with an Eros flanker. And this one's Eros Flame. I've got to admit, Eros Flame has grown on me a lot. When this one first came out, I got it in and tried it, and it was okay. I'm a big fan of the original Eros, and so it made sense that I liked this one. But I didn't necessarily love it at that time. It didn't excite me all that much. Since then, more recently, the Parfum has come out, and that one really kind of reignited that spark and that love for Eros for me, because over the years I have kind of gotten away from it a little bit. Started off wearing the EDT and would wear that one consistently a lot, and so things change, my collection grows, and so that one kind of got put on the back burner, and the Parfum just kind of brought back that original EDT DNA and just made it stronger, and it really fixed that performance issue that people have claimed that has been changed over the years with the EDT via reformulations and such. You don't have that issue with the new Parfum. It is richer, it's much stronger, and it wears like a true Parfum, so it doesn't have as much ridiculous projection. Instead, it does leave a nice scent trail. And so after spending quite a bit of time with the Parfum and really getting back into this DNA, I kind of started going back over to Flame again as well. And then something changed, and I started to realize how good this one is as well. And it kind of opened my eyes up a little bit, and I started to really dig in more and gained a lot of respect for this one. I like it a lot. So what's the difference between them? Simply going to be that Flame, which is an EDP, by the way, essentially is using some fruity orange instead of apple. It doesn't have as much of the minty kind of green smell going on like in pretty much all of the others, right? It's a little bit more of a citrusy, creamy, lighter take on the Eros DNA. And so it's still very sweet and it still smells like Eros. But in one way or another, it's not quite as extreme. And even the Parfum, which I consider to be a little bit more smooth compared to the EDT and even the EDP, it still has quite a bit of impact behind it. I just think Flame is a little bit more well-rounded overall. Ultimately, I end up giving this one an 8 out of 10, which, to me, I think is well-deserved, and I don't regret that rating at all. I think it's definitely holds up to that 8 out of 10 spot there. It's impressive stuff, and if you don't like it a lot at first, maybe things will change over the years. It took me a while, but I really like it a lot now. Kind of going from one red bottle to another, this is one that I haven't featured in a long time, but it's a really good kind of hidden gem, lesser talked about scent from this brand. John Varvatos, it is, John Varvatos Nick Jonas Red or Crimson, I believe is the official name. Let me look. John Varvatos, Nick Jonas, Crimson, yes. So this one has suede, rum, saffron, and coffee in here. It's got a really nice note breakdown here with some notes that always catch my attention. The boozy notes, the sweet notes, all that stuff. You know, it's one where whenever I see that, I know I'm pretty much going to like it, assuming you actually pick up on those notes, and you do. You actually get a little bit of apple off the top as well, which is lending to that sweetness. This smells great. You get some of that original John Varvatos Pour Homme smell in here, and then you get some of the booziness, sweetness, all of that. Definitely has more of a mainstream smell, and that makes sense considering this is essentially a collaboration with a celebrity, and so, you know, if he had any sort of say in the creation of this, you know, which I'm assuming he did, you know, smelling all the different you know, versions and things like that, then I would imagine that they're going to lean towards something that's just going to be very mass pleasing. When this one came out, I used to wear it a lot and used to talk about it a lot. Again, it's one of those things where over time kind of start to just get into other things and it kind of gets put away. I have to give this one a 7 out of 10 though. It's a great compliment getter that people are going to love the smell of. And while it's a little bit more mainstream and maybe dumbed down compared to some other John Varvatos offerings, I still think this one's pretty good. Next up from Chanel, we have Allure Homme Sport Edition Blanche. So this one has a lot of lemon, vanilla, tonka bean. You get some of the kind of aldehydes, C notes, creamy freshness in here, just like in the Allure Homme Sport variant. And so what this one essentially is doing is focusing a lot on the lemon to give it kind of a fruity, sweet gourmand smell. So I've always described this one as being my summer gourmand scent. You know, in the wintertime, I wear my winter gourmands, just standard gourmands, coffee scents, chocolatey scents, you know, everything like that, right? Kind of get my fix on that. Spring, summer comes around, and so then I'm wearing aquatics and fresh scents and citrus scents. And, you know, there are times where I start to crave some scents with a little bit more sweetness and that aren't just fresh all the way through. And I don't want to go back to my winter scents during summertime. And so Allure Homme Edition Blanche kind of fills that void for me. Summer gourmand. This one's also very popular. The whole line is really, but this one had quite a bit of hype back in its day. Since then, it's a little bit more under the radar. Just the whole Allure Homme line at this point has just been talked about so much that it's just kind of just there and it's existing now, and they haven't added to it, so there's no buzz about this anymore. But at one point, this was a big hype beast for spring and summertime especially. I think for what it's worth, it's quite unique. It really stands out and kind of makes a name for itself and within the rest of the Allure Homme line. And so I give this one a 9 out of 10. That's a pretty high rating, and I'm sticking to it. I'm a big fan of this line. Allure Homme Sport, Allure Homme Sport Extreme. Both of those are amazing. This one's also really good. And again, it's just something unique. There isn't really anything else out there quite like this. You definitely can't beat this next one in terms of compliments either. It is stronger with you intensely. So this one has just that signature stronger with you DNA, the vanilla, tonka, chestnut, all of that stuff that, you know, has been popularized as of the past, I don't know, few years or something like that. Definitely something that you've smelled before, whether you know it or not. And this is one of those deals where you could go with any in the line. The original, absolutely, which is my favorite, just a bit harder to find. And any of the exclusive ones, they all will get you compliments. Some better than others. When you start getting into the exclusive ones, like oud and leather and stuff, they might be a little bit further away from the you know, honing in on the mass appeal thing, but they still were going to do the job great. But Intensely is one where you can play it safe and you're guaranteed that people are just going to like it. I give this one a 7.5 out of 10. So, you know, it's solid rating. Absolutely is a bit better for me, but it's just harder to find. And I think Intensely is kind of a nice middle ground where it's a little bit easier to pick up. It's a bit cheaper, but it's still going to do the job really well. Again, not discrediting the compliment factor here. It's great. Just scent-wise, I prefer some of the others. Next up, going over to the luxury or niche side of things from a very popular niche brand, and they're by far their most popular offering. It's Parfums de Marly Layton. So first things first, There are other affordable alternatives out there. So Alharme Detour Noir, Amber Oud Exclusive Blue, Alhambra, Layton. Yes, it's called Layton, Leyden, and the bottle looks somewhat like this. So there are options, you know, $30, $40. Exclusive Blue is around $60, $70, a little bit more expensive, but still considerably more affordable than this. So this one here, Layton itself, if you're lucky, 185, somewhere around in there, maybe 200 max on discounters. Any more than that, you know, it's starting to just get higher in price, so it depends on how bad you want it. Retail price is going to be more than that. Don't know off the top of my head, maybe $350 or something. But for me, I love it. I love the smell. 9 out of 10. Great smell. Oh, it's so good. Vanilla, cinnamon, tonka, apple. It smells like fall. It smells like winter. I mean, it's unique in the sense that it has a magic kind of special delivery about it that other scents don't really have, other DNAs that is. The clones can capture that very well, but I don't know, there's something unique about this one, and I'm not the only one that feels that way because it's super popular. Next up we have Ralph's Club Parfum. So this is the first flanker within the line. They started off with the EDP, and so this one, I give it an 8 out of 10. Shocking, maybe not. I love this DNA, I just do. So it has a lot of sage, aromatics like lavender, there's some amber wood in here, a little bit of citrus off the top. It's kind of like that YEDP DNA a little bit, although this one doesn't have near the amount of sweetness like from apple like YEDP, much more aromatic Ralph's Club Parfum. And so, you know, I don't know what it is. I like how these things smell. The original is great. The new Elixir is also really good. But from a mass appeal standpoint, compliment standpoint, the Elixir is still new. You know, the Parfum is newer, but it's going to be more well regarded in terms of mass appeal and that sort of thing at this moment in time. So yeah, I think 8 out of 10, just talking about the scent here. You know, it's not exciting, sure, you know, but it's super pleasant and you can't mess this stuff up. You can wear this for anything and you're just going to smell great. This next one is a heavy hitter. I'm going to be dishing out a 10 out of 10. And again, this one didn't really take a whole lot of thought, you know. I threw this one into the video because I knew it deserved a spot. And when it comes to my rating, I love it. It's great for summertime. You can wear it when it's super hot and humid. You can wear it when it's spring and maybe it's 50, 60 degrees, a little bit cooler out. You know, and you know, for that matter, wear it in wintertime too when it's 0 degrees. Doesn't really matter. It's better suited for the warm weather, in my opinion. It smells better in the warm heat. It kind of helps it to come to life and open up. But ultimately, there's something unique about this one that I just think it's a 10 out of 10 work of art. It's Acqua di Gio Profondo. And so, you know, the whole line is really good. Everything from the original to Profumo, which is one of my all-time favorites. Even things like Absolute Instinct, Acqua di Gio EDP, all of that stuff. They're all great, but Profondo is also just incredible. I give it a 10 out of 10. I think it's great. It's a huge compliment polar. It's an aquatic with a twist. Has these mineral notes in here, which it literally smells like oceanic rocks. It's bizarre and it sounds weird, but there is something just super fascinating about this stuff. Price point on this is not horrendous either. It's an Acqua di Gio flanker, and generally they're going to be up there a little bit, but not awful either. It's in the low 100s for this, well, actually not this bottle size. I thought this was the 4.2. For the 4.2, they're in the low hundreds. You can get these big, I think it's a, what is it, is it a 200? Yeah, it is. It's a 200, and it's going to cost you a little bit more, but it's a good price per milliliter, and you can douse yourself with this one in the summertime. This next one is Spicebomb Night Vision EDP. So the Night Visions are kind of interesting. I kind of think that they, I don't know, they just, I don't like these very much. You know, and it's one of those things where it's tough because I look at the original Spicebomb, which you might say is played out, and it probably is, but at least it's unique and it really does stand out, or especially it did at one point when it first came out. Now there's things that maybe kind of try to copy it or smell similar, you know, Bulgarian Man in Black, Givenchy Gentleman Only, or Givenchy Gentleman Absolute, I think is what it is. A few things like that that kind of go after Spicebomb. So, you know, not 100% original anymore, but Spicebomb did start it. I digress. You know, Spicebomb Extreme comes out. It's phenomenal. One of the best ever for tobacco scents for men, designers. It's great. Spicebomb Eau Fresh, a discontinued flanker, equally amazing and a great, fresher alternative for the springtime. The night visions are just kind of lame, and I really think they dumb down the line a little bit with these, if I'm being honest. They just kind of dole things up, and so I don't really pay attention to them. That being said, and again, this isn't me being a hater, I try to see things on a level playing field. The night visions do excel in compliment factor. You know, I think the rest of the Spice Bombs do good as well. You know, that's why the EDT rose to fame. It was a great compliment getter, still is. You know, but the night visions are a bit more of a modern take on a more, you know, up-to-date, kind of sweet, fresh, warm, spicy smell, or kind of fresh, spicy smell also. This one has like pistachio and nutty notes and a whole bunch of other notes that I don't even need to list off, but it's familiar. You know, you've smelled it before, not all that exciting, and that's okay. It does get phenomenal compliments. I give it a 6 out of 10. Scent-wise, it's not there for me, but it does work really well, and so if you don't care about something smelling real good to you or not, and you just want great compliments, then go for this. This next one here is about $40, maybe $35. It is Missoni Wave, kind of a cross between Versace Pour Homme and Chanel Allure Homme Sport, which is a great combination. And this one just kind of meets them in the middle. Has the sweetness of the Chanel and the fresh, bright, citrusy punch and the muskiness from the Versace. 8.5 out of 10. The only reason it's maybe a bit low, because I really like those other two, is because I really like those other two. How many things do we need to smell like those? You know, I think we've had enough now. And to be fair, I do really see the value of this one because of what I just described. It's right in the middle, okay? The Chanel is sweeter, the Versace's all bright and fresh, and that's it. So instead of buying both of those, you can just buy this, and you have the best of both worlds. But, you know, because it's drawing inspiration from both of those, and it's kind of a clone or just a heavy inspiration, that's going to dock it a little bit just because I already have those other ones and I wear those and they're great too. But this is still a fantastic option. Last up for this video, we have Dior Homme 2020. All about the vetiver, the cashmere, the ISOE Super. I think some other woods in there like cedar wood, all of that stuff. Phenomenal looking bottle for sure. Great presentation. It's a modern Dior Homme. They did a good job on that. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. I was a lot harsher on this one when it first came out because I was coming from the mindset of Dior Homme with iris, Dior Homme Intense with iris. You know, even a couple of the Dior Homme Sports back in the day, those had iris. And then you go over to this, which is the complete opposite. It took me off guard and it didn't excite me all that much. To be fair, the scent still does not do much for me. That being said, I respect what they've done, and I think overall it does its intended purpose very well. It's a Dior after all, and they kind of know what they're doing. Alrighty, that's going to do it for me. Some compliment pulling fragrances rated from 1 to 10. If you're on the hunt for anything rare, discontinued, or hard to find, and or you want to be notified of some of the best fragrance deals and sales on the market, jump on my mailing list and texting list at the link and number down below. Anytime something comes up, you'll be the first to know about it over there. I promise you're not going to regret it. Some amazing stuff has been popping up lately. Discontinued Armani Coat Absolute, Lanwi Blue Electrique, all of that great stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.